Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randirhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
Radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
I'm looking for something that President Trump supports, and he's not yet indicated what measure he's willing to sign. As soon as we figure out what he is for, then I would be convinced that we were not just spinning our wheels.
Oh, my God. There you have the majority leader in the Senate, Turtle Boy Mitch McConnell, whose wife is part of the Trump cabinet. You know, Elaine Chao is Secretary of Transportation. She's also Mrs. Mitch McConnell. And Mitch McConnell is standing at a podium saying no one knows where the president stands. No one knows what the president wants. No one knows what the president is for. How in the world do we craft a bill for his signature when no one knows what the president is for? Is he for DACA? Does he need $18 billion for the wall in order to sign off on something? He said that he was for DACA. He said that he was down with the Lindsey Graham, Dick Durbin, Heard Aguilera plan. He was going to do it, whatever they said. He would take the. Now he's tweeting out things like the wall is the wall and I want my money and DACA isn't going to happen, or maybe it will. And Kelly is on TV saying, I was on the phone and I ran up to Capitol Hill and I screwed this plan up because this can never happen. And Congress doesn't know what the president wants. Meanwhile, the freaking Freedom Caucus, Representative Mark Meadows, is on the TV saying we don't have enough votes in the House, where the Republicans have a 24-seat majority. They don't have enough votes in the House to stop the shutdown. The Senate doesn't know what to vote on to stop the shutdown because the leader doesn't know what the president will sign. He doesn't know what he's for. Holy crap, man. You know, they say that, Trump loves chaos. He loves chaos. This is our lives. These are our lives he is screwing around with. And today, if I'm not mistaken, maybe somebody heard it, I believe the president said that he would fund somehow, I don't know, he's got like some fantastical thinking, he's going to fund the national parks. If the government shuts down, so people don't feel it, so people don't know it, so people don't, get upset with him. Or I have no idea what he's talking about. Nobody knows what to do because the president doesn't know what he's for. From moment to moment. He was tweeting craziness today about the CHIP program. First he said, the Republicans, Mitch McConnell and the Senate Republicans said, here's what we'll do. We'll bait the Democrats, even though the Democrats are in the minority everywhere. The Democrats do not control the House, 24 seats less than the Republicans have. Don't control any committees. Don't have any leadership positions whatsoever because in the House, it's all Republicans. The Senate, same thing. Republicans have a majority, barely, but they do. No committee chairmanships, nothing. The leader is Mitch McConnell, and he decides what goes on the floor. No one else, just him. Same thing with Paul Ryan in the House. Speaker decides what goes on the floor. No one else, right? And they said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put CHIP into the short-term CR. Funding for the Children's Health Insurance Plan, which Donald Trump took away after 21 years. Okay, he just took it away. And they said that we're going to put CHIP funding in there to bait the Democrats. Because if the Democrats don't vote on the short-term continuing resolution to keep the government open until February 15th, we will be able to campaign in 2018 by saying the Democrats voted against the Children's Health Insurance Program. This is how they play the game, okay? This is their stupid, stupid game. The president starts tweeting this morning that he doesn't want the Children's Health Insurance Plan in the short-term continuing resolution. He says that should be a standalone. He says that he's like tweeting crazy stuff about CHIP to upend Mitch McConnell's bait for Democrats that he was going to dangle so that he could campaign. His people who are up for re-election could campaign. The Democrats voted against children's health insurance program. And the president is tweeting, no, I don't want CHIP in the continuing resolution. It's 6 years worth of funding. It shouldn't be in a temporary funding bill. It shouldn't be in there. I mean, I don't know if he's talking about Eric Estrada in CHIP or the wood chipper in Fargo. Is he talking about fries? What is he talking? No one knows. And that's why Mitch McConnell is standing there saying, no one knows what he's about. No one knows.
I'm looking for something that President Trump supports. And he's not yet indicated what measure he's willing to sign. As soon as we figure out what he is for, then I would be convinced that we were not just spinning our wheels.
Oh, he's driving his own GOP crazy. He's driving his own party crazy. Just be glad you're not part of anything that Donald Trump controls, like America. Oh, snap. They'll get a bill to the president as soon as we figure out what he's for. All right, I'll tell you what he's for, Mitch. White supremacy. Didn't he make that clear? Give him a white supremacy bill. He'll sign it. I mean, Flynn, too. Kelly, too. Kelly, too. Should have compromised on slavery. We wouldn't have had the Civil War. Frederica Wilson is a liar. LaDavid Johnson, his wife is lying. Everybody's lying. All these people are lying. I mean, of course, if you want to know what Trump is for, he's for. But, you can't even say that. You can't even say he's for white supremacy because the man has no principles whatsoever, not even the principle that he's a racist. He could be a racist one minute, and then the next minute he wants a bill of love. He has no principles. He's a transactional guy. And even on the racism, you can't pin him down. Like today, he might be racist. Tomorrow, he might take out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the death penalty for 5 innocent kids. And then all those years later, after their DNA proves that they weren't the rapists, he'll still say, oh, I still want to kill him. You don't know. Is he going to be racist on Tuesday and not on Thursday? Or is he going to be racist at 10 o'clock on Thursday and then not racist at 12 o'clock? You don't know. He has no principles. Kelly, you kind of know. But it looks like he's drawing up some plan to keep the national parks and the monuments open despite a shutdown so that he can blunt the public anger. In a weird way, he's getting better at screwing up. Maybe this is the Kelly influence. I really don't know. What's the point of even passing a bill? He probably will refuse to sign it. Depends what time of day it is. And then he'll say you never sent him one. This is nuts. This is absolutely bizarre. Ron in Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm curious. Are you concerned that if the Democrats don't go along with a continuing resolution, even if it's just for a month or something, and if it's pinpointed over DACA or something like that, that's going to be very damaging to them politically because of the way the media structure is?
Well, the fact is Republicans have a 24-seat majority in the House, and Republicans have a majority in the Senate, and Republicans have a Republican president. So if anything goes wrong, it's the Republicans that screwed it up. They don't need Democrats in the House, and there's not enough votes in the House to avert a shutdown, according to the Freedom Caucus right now.
Okay, the Senate.
So how could this ever be a Democrat's fault? How could it be?
You and I know that, but
right.
I mean the way they the media tends to portray it.
Yeah, well, Sarah Sanders already said yesterday it's the Democrats' fault if the government shuts down. They're going to just keep saying that, but the math is reality, and the math does not say that you need. When you have the Republican majority in the House, that you need to have Democratic votes in order to pass something.
Right, but I mean, okay, say they passed it in the House, but don't you need 60 in the Senate?
They do, but it's not going to pass the House, according to what the Freedom Caucus is saying.
Okay, well, then they would lose their argument. That's I guess good.
So believe me, the Senate, the House is going to go first, right? I mean,
right.
So and if it doesn't pass the House, then there's no issue for the Senate whatsoever.
Right.
Right. But I see your point. I mean, I do see your point. They do need 60 votes in the Senate, and they don't have 60. Plus, John McCain is out sick. So, but you've got Lindsey Graham who's saying he's a no. He's a Republican, and he's a no. So how is it not going to be the Republicans' fault? I mean,
right. Well, I know. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Right. I mean, I don't get. And Senator Tom Cotton, if they put DACA in, he's a no. And Senator David Perdue from Georgia, if they put DACA in, he's a no. I mean, I don't know how this, yes, you're right. The media structure is such that Sarah Sanders will scream every single day that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm wondering one thing. Doesn't it look like, I thought maybe that when Bannon and these other people were saying, like, the last person that talks to Trump before he makes a decision, that's the decision he makes. Doesn't it look more and more like that?
Don't what? Say that again.
So Bannon and some of these people said that if you have 10 people talk to Trump, the 10th person that talks to him, if it happens to be just before he makes a decision, that's the person he'll choose. That's the decision he'll make. Mm-hmm. And doesn't it look more and more like that's really true?
Well, to me, it looks like the president has no character or principles whatsoever, none. And so, therefore, he's a transactional president. So it's, what can you do for me, pal? And if you can do for him, then he's with you. And if you can't do for him, or you can convince him that this is bad for him, he's not governing for us. He doesn't give a rat's ass about America or Americans. He lies to us regularly. He disrespects us by lying to us. He certainly hasn't done any legislation that's going to help, the middle class. I'm looking at jobs numbers today. If you only have a high school diploma, guess what? 3 million people with only a high school diploma have lost their jobs since this president. So, I mean, he doesn't care about you. He really, truly doesn't. He cares about him. So right. It looks to me like, what can you do for me, or what have you done for me lately, is the way he comports himself.
Right. So that, in other words, the last.
I don't know that it's the last person. It's the person who was the most successful at describing to him how whatever it is he needs to do benefits him personally.
Oh yeah, like, Mr. President, this decision will help you with your base, kind of thing.
Which is what I keep wanting to call him Flynn, but because he's looking more and more like Flynn to me. But Kelly. That's what Kelly told him. Kelly told him this is not good for your agenda.
Right.
And ran up to Capitol Hill to get people to convince Donald Trump that this was not good for him, his agenda, and his lousy 37% of Americans who are bitter clingers.
Right.
Right. And so they were able to make that argument to Donald Trump that this was not good for Donald Trump. And so then when Durbin and Graham showed up, Donald Trump had been convinced that it wasn't good for him. Of course, it's good for a million other people. It's good for national security. It's good to have people who are here temporarily have some certainty so that they can continue to work and pay taxes. It's good for our revenue sources. It's good for our economy. It's good for our
I hope somebody doesn't tell him, hey, it's good for your base if you drop a nuke on North Korea.
Well, see, that's the whole problem. That's what's so scary. So the Republicans have been telling us things like, well, John Kelly is the insurance policy because he'll throw himself on the nuclear football. But the truth is, John Kelly thinks he's the president now.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah. And he's a freaking Marine general. So his priority is, war. And there is this little, feeling that's out there. Of course, shouldn't exploit what he says, but there is a feeling, and if you want to say there's a feeling, that's fine, that the president needs a distraction from all this, and it could be war. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.